even tell you is that I went to go and check that warthog burrow earlier this morning to see if Wilbur was around. Wilbur was not around, sadly. So I don't know where he's gone. Maybe he's got a new home. Perhaps he's got a different bachelor pad now. But Tristan is still on the walk and desperately trying to find Hosana. Let's go see if he's well. Got any more clues?
Well, no clues at the moment, so we are desperately trying to find Hosana. We have got tracks that go east, just on the northern side of us that Brent also saw, and they're coming, we're just checking south of that in case there's a little mud wallow in this area, so we're just trying to have a little look to see if maybe, just maybe, we can find him somewhere in these thickets. I have a funny feeling that he might have gone into Torchwood as well. Seems as though everybody is that side of the world at the moment, so we'll just try and see where they go there. There's some water holes that are not too far from here, that are a really good place for a leopard to lie. I've seen the Tundian cub use it quite a bit, and also the Nkuhuma pride. So we're just trying to just check slowly but surely through these thickets. It's a really kind of dense area, so it's tough to sort of see what's around you, and it's important then that you kind of just take stock of what's going on and just go a little slower and just listen and try and think about what you're doing, because otherwise you have a situation where you can get yourself into trouble quite quickly. And we know there's tracks for a buffalo that head into this area as well. Pretty sure it's the same buffalo that Hosana was following yesterday. Whether or not he's still following it, I'm not quite sure. Now, I believe Taylor was talking about a duiker and lightning and all of those kind of things. So for those of you that don't know what happened or weren't around or watching at that stage, we did have a duiker. Careful your head there, Craig. So Craig needs to just be a bit careful of a branch that's overhanging. But we did have a duiker that was unfortunately struck by lightning. Now, it wasn't itself was struck by lightning. It was under a tree, a massive big tree. And lightning hit, and unfortunately the duiker sleeping under the tree got hit as well, and we had a situation where this poor thing was dead there, and it was quite amazing to actually see the damage that lightning can do to something like that. The fur of that animal had caught on fire and was actually burning at the time, and you could smell, there was the singed smell when you sort of went there, and this poor thing had melted fur all over it, which was not very pleasant at all. So not a nice thing to happen. Probably was pretty instantaneous death. There you go, Craig. Well, Craig's got himself caught, so we're going to try and get ourselves out of this. It is a very dense area, not very easy for camera work in this section. So I'm sorry, Craig, it's my fault, but we are going to be in the open now. So there we go, we're in the open. It was amazing to actually see the damage that lightning can do to an animal. It was pretty staggering, the kind of, the way that this poor animal had kind of been treated by electricity. But it was a situation also where, like I say, it probably died pretty quickly. From the looks of things, it got hit, and then there was a bit of kind of air bubbles and things and foaming at the mouth that happened, but I'm pretty sure that animal died very quickly. You could actually see where it had been lying down, and then where it died was no more than half a meter. So I think as the crack happened, it tried to probably bolt, and the lightning hit it, and then it just fell down dead right there. So pretty interesting to kind of see. It's one of the first animals that I've seen properly that actually caught fire. We also had a situation where at Singita we had 6 wildebeest. That actually was a 6 or 9. I think it was 9 actually that were killed, all in one spot. And we thought that it was lightning as well. We had a massive storm, and we got there, and there was the Sparta Pride, and they were on these 9 wildebeest all in the circle, and we all thought it was lightning, but actually it turns out that those lions had caught all 9 of them, which is pretty insane. So it can sometimes be just lions catching them, but we thought it was lightning at the time, and it does happen. I know there's been lots of cases of lightning hitting groups of animals and more than one animal dying. Right, now these mud wallows have no water in them, which is a surprise, because when I went on leave, these were full of water, and they were absolutely at saturation. There was water all over the place here, so pretty surprising that these are dry already. I would have thought that they would have held some water. Anyway, we'll carry on, because now I'm not quite sure where Hosana would have gone from here, so we'll try to see if we can pick up his tracks. While we do that, let's send you back across to Brent, who I know was also seeing the tracks just now, and I wonder if he's keeping going with them.
Well, we're back in the area where we last had the tracks of Hosana. Oh, there were some emerald-spotted wood doves having a little... I'm trying to work out whether it's 2 males trying to outperform each other, or it's a female and the male trying to impress. You can hear him calling, doo, 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 doo. Oh, I think it's actually 2 males trying to outcompete each other. Can see that puffing up. Do, 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 do. Okay, I'm going to try to turn up the ambient sound. So that's the one on the right that's doing the calling at the moment. See if he does it again. Come on, come on. You can hear a rattling testicular making a racket. Come on, puff up your cheeks. Give us a call. Come on. Don't get camera shy now. Murphy's Law. Oh, Herbie's just giving me a call on the radio. So we had Hasana's tracks just down here. Standing by Herb. Okay, so Herbie and I have found those tracks that I was talking about, and there's a pan system just in here. That's where we thought he would have gone, and Herbie's and Tristan have found tracks there, but he's continuing to the south from there. And they're asking me for a lift so they can jump to the other side of the block quickly and to try help find Hasana faster. So let me just stand by 1 second. Herbie, I'm on Bateleur Road now. Where are you? Okay, they've decided that the tracks are fresh enough, they don't want a lift from me, and I'm going to loop around. Let's find a spot to turn around. Now, Tristan was talking about that duiker that was whacked by lightning, and Nikki asked me, have you ever seen an animal whacked by lightning? And I have, and it's an incredibly scary experience. It was a massive buffalo bull in the Busanga Plains in northern Zambia, and we were watching a group of them out in the floodplain, and this big storm was rolling in, and we're sort of umming and ahhing whether it was time to head home. And while we were watching the buffalo, it actually got struck, and it died almost instantly. I mean, thousands of volts shot through there, but the smell of burning flesh was quite something. And the next day, and then there was enough lightning around, we decided it was time to get off the open plain and head back to camp. And the next day, the lions were already feeding on it. So the only lions I know of that have eaten cooked meat out in the wild. I'm sure it's happened. I mean, we found that we saw a giraffe in the Mara that had been struck by lightning. It happens. It's not very common, but it does happen. I've actually been in a car that's been struck by lightning as well. That was not fun. And in an aeroplane, actually. Nikki says, how are you alive? Well, what happens when you're in an aeroplane, because you're not grounded, the lightning just sort of flies all around. It was in a little small 6-seater. And my mother was flying us. It just makes the instruments go haywire for a little bit. But it's actually, you're not too bad if you get struck by lightning in the air. And in the car, you've got rubber tires and it insulates you. So it also just sort of gives you a big fright more than anything else. So someone was asking, what resources do birds compete for? Well, it depends on the area and the bird species. The biggest competition you really see with birds is in your aquatic birds, and especially around diminishing resources. So pans that where there's a whole bunch of catfish or whatnot, and as they dry up, you can have lots of different species even competing, not even the same species. Marabou, storks, fish eagles, all sorts competing for those resources. But different birds will compete for different resources. Nesting sites is actually quite a big competition, because they often have to compete with things like bush babies and jennets and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, there's various different things they compete for. So Herbie and Tristan are in there somewhere down here, so we're just looping around. Candy would like to know how many eagle species occur at Djuma. Now, I used to be able to do this off the top of my head, but I'm going to try, but I might need to look at my book. So I can tell you for a fact, warburgs, Marshall, well, let's start with the resident eagles: tawny, Marshall, African hawk, migratory brown snake eagle, black-chested snake eagle, I'm trying to think of other residents. Bateleur, I think that's the residents. Migratory, you've got booted eagle, steppe eagle. Did I say tawny eagle earlier? I did, okay. Migratory, so I was booted eagle, steppe eagle, Wahlberg's eagle, lesser spotted eagle. So we're on 10. And those are the more common ones. I'm just trying to think if there isn't a slightly sort of rare vagrant that comes through. Don't get greater spotteds here. Fish eagle, 11, as another resident. Can you think of any other eagles, Dave? No. Can you think of anything at all, Dave, apart from cameras? I'm joking, Dave, of course. Let's have a quick look. So as I say, there are others that might occur here very, very seldomly, but I don't think so. I think I've got them all, but let's double check. Okay. Lesser spotted eagle, we got steppe eagle, tawny eagle. As I said, greater spotted doesn't occur here, so that's 3. Wahlbergs is the only one on that page that occurs here. Booted, I said, African hawk. Ayers, Cassian's not here. I've lost count now, didn't I? I've got to start again. So you might see some of them have got little circles around them. Those are the ones I have seen. So we got 1, 2, 3, and just catch up again. 4, 5, 6. Okay, there we go. A long-crested eagle, it's a possibility, but they generally prefer more open areas. I'm trying to think if we saw one at Cheetah Plains. So long-crested eagle is a question mark. I have seen them in the southern Sabi sands, though. So I suppose you could say it occurs here. So 7, 8, 9. Yeah, and those are those eagles. Now we're going to get to the other eagles. And the snake eagles. I'm on 9. Yes, Nikki's worried I'm going to forget again. As I said, black-chested snake eagle, 10. Brown snake eagle, 11. Bateleur, 12. So the only one I was missing there, oh no, it's actually going to be 13 with fish eagle. Where's the fish eagle? There you go. 13 with the fish eagle, African fish eagle. So which ones did I forget? It was the long-crested eagle, but I don't think we've seen them on drive, which was the one I forgot. And yeah, that's all the snake eagles that occur here. Yeah, that's all the eagles. Look what's in the road. Look what's in the road. You can see those heavy set footprints falling heavily, trailing behind Herbie. There's Herbie trailblazers ahead, and then Batman scratching his ear. Batman, stop scratching your ear. And Herbie's calling me on the radio. So I'm going to send you across to Tristan while Herbie and I have a chat. Standing by, Herb.
Well, we'll leave Brent and Herbie to have a chat and we'll carry on. I know Brent was busy counting eagles and he was saying question mark on long-crested eagle. It's not a question mark. I have seen long-crested eagles here before a few times. On Little Gowrie we had one that stuck around for one summer, and then on Arethusa Airstrip a few times as well. So there are long-crested eagles that you do get here from time to time. Not common, but you do get them. And then crowned eagles, I don't know if he counted crowned eagle in his count and his numbers that he has. So they're also around. But I'm pretty sure 14, 15 sounds about right, somewhere in that area. Now, we are on the tracks for Hosanna, and that's why Brent and I are in the same area. Now, he's saying that he hasn't seen a crowned eagle in the Sabi Sands. Well, it's okay, Brenty. At some point, we'll find you a crowned eagle. They do get seen on the Manyeleti River, funny enough, and seen them twice there. It's not a common bird to see, but you do get to see them, and I know that they have been also seen down on the Sand River in the western sector as well, so we get them there too. But I'm just trying to think what other eagles might have been in this area. I don't know how many he counted and whether or not the snake eagles count to this whole thing, but I suppose, like I say, 14, 15 would be my guess as to how many we have in this section. And like I said, crowned and long-cresteds do occur in this area as well. Now, Brent is busy going behind me, and like I say, the reason why is because the Hosanna's tracks, just after you last saw us, we found them very quickly at those pans going southwards. So we're now just checking all of these mud wallows to the south of us. There's another big mud wallow that is off this little 2-track road that goes off Mamba. So we're going to go and try and check there. Brent's going to go on Mamba, and we'll try and link around and see if we can find him. I have a funny feeling, though, that he's already crossed into Little Gowrie and has gone south, but we'll try and see if we can pick him up still, and hopefully he's still somewhere on this side. Now, Chelsea, yes, there is one small cat that you should not mention that is in the area besides Serval and Caracal, and that is the African wildcat. We do see them. I know Jamie once had a really cool sighting of an African wildcat up on the Buffelshoek boundary. We don't see them that regularly, but they are around. Unfortunately, the leopards are a bit of a pest for wildcats. If you're a wildcat, a leopard is not a very nice thing at all, and many wildcats get killed by leopards. And so, I don't know, it's probably just too much competition that you don't see too many of them. There used to be a really nice, two relaxed wildcats. One that was on Gowrie Main, very close to Shabamu Road. I used to see it on the firebreak a lot there, hunting and going after all kinds of things. And then another very relaxed one used to be on Chitwa, just north of the dam, on that big open area close to the dam. Often used to see it hunting guinea fowls there. I actually had some really great sightings. One day I went there and the guinea fowl were kind of chirping away, and we thought maybe leopard, and we were sitting there, and the guinea fowl then calmed down, and they were pecking around and doing their guinea fowl business, as we saw this morning with Taylor. And out of nowhere, this wildcat just came and launched towards these guinea fowl, and they hit this guinea fowl, and it grabbed it, and as it was pulling it down, the guinea fowl somehow managed to just escape, and there were feathers everywhere, and this wildcat came plonking to the ground with feathers between its feet and in its mouth, just sitting there looking very sorry for itself, and the guinea fowl looking very kind of shocked at what had just happened, sitting up in the branch. So that was really, really epic. I remember one of my guests actually got a video of the whole thing, which was very, very cool. So we used to see them. There was also a relaxed serval that used to be at Chitwa airstrip. And when I say relaxed serval, I mean incredibly relaxed. It was almost like a leopard in a way that you could park ahead of it and it would walk down the road and walk past you and carry on and do walk-bys, which was pretty insane. And we used to see it a lot on Chitwa airstrip, just off that open area there, maybe, I'd say at least once a week for a good couple months. And it also just disappeared, unfortunately. So, probably, again, leopard is probably to blame for that. They target these smaller cats quite often in these areas. So, that's it. But Caracal's also around. So that's the only small cats that we see. Now, Kelly, you're talking about cats and things with the word cat in it, meerkats. You want to know if we get to see them here in this area? No. So we never see meerkats here. We're not arid enough for a meerkat. A meerkat is a desert kind of arid area animal. So see them all in the western side of South Africa, towards the sort of northwest, should I say. And then this side we have mongoose instead. So our meerkats are basically our dwarf mongoose and banded mongoose that kind of hang around together. They're very similar in the way that they go about their habits and what they get up to, but not quite a meerkat. Meerkats are very cool animals. I actually love spending time with them. They're super interesting. And funny enough, Brian, who used to be one of our cameramen, he spent a lot of time filming meerkats and has some very good stories about the meerkats and what they get up to. I think they're pretty cool little animals. It'd be nice to have them here, but I suppose our dwarf mongoose do just as good a job. It's a pity that our banded mongoose are not quite as sort of prevalent in this area, not as visible, because the banded mongoose are also very, very cool and probably a little bit more similar to the meerkats in terms of size than what the dwarf mongoose is. Anyway, good. Hopefully we'll be able to show you a cat of our own fairly shortly. We're going to keep looking and keep trying. While we do that, let's send you back across to Brent and see whether or not he's contemplated crowned eagles, long-crested eagles, and whether or not he's got any more signs for Hosanna.
No, I'm busy contemplating cheeky cameraman at the moment. He keeps jumping out of the way. Cheeky cameraman. You're lucky there's a camera between us, David. So as I was saying, I thought we were referring to just on Djuma. I've seen long-crested eagle quite a bit in the south, and crowned eagle on the Sand River. But I suppose up here in the north, Manuleti is a good spot for crowned eagle, and I think that's where Tristy saw them. So they do occur here, but I say we haven't got them on our Djuma or Chitwa or even Cheetah Plains Arethusa lists yet. So that puts that, what are we at, 16 the possible eagles that can be seen. So Tristan and Herbie and Craig are coming in from that side, and we're coming slowly from this side. Oh, sorry, what was that, Herbie? Sorry, Herbs, go again. Quickly across the Taylor.
Oh, I don't know if you saw it. There was a southern bobo. Now, I know that sounds a little bit ridiculous, but they are such cool little birds, and we don't actually get to see them very often up here in the north. I mean, I think I've only seen like 3 or 4 since I've been here. Let me try and reposition Seb. Have you got him? Can you see him? Seb says you can see him bouncing around. There he is. Go drop down a little bit. Here we go. On your right-hand side of the screen. That's a really cool little bird. He's white. He's got black on him. A little bit of sort of rust. Oh, that was cool. He's somewhere. You know what? They're very responsive to calls. I'm not going to play the call, but I just want to show you what it looks like. And my favorite spot is actually on Inyala Road South. Some of you may remember this. Let me see if I can open up this app. Where I've also stopped and halted, almost lost my teeth on the steering wheel to try and show you. There was a beautiful bird party here, but typical. They never stick around for too long, and there was a black-headed oriole as well, which was quite nice to see. Bobo, or as some people say, boo-boo, tomato. I say bobo. Let me show you here what we were looking at. So that's a beautiful one that was bouncing around in the bushes. They're lovely birds. Let's see what other one. So that was the orange that you got to see. They're stunning birds. Really quite cool. Man, I wish it had hung around for a little bit longer. Oh, what a pity. Now that entire bird party has moved off. But you did get a glimpse of it. You'll just have to take my word for it. That's what it was. It might be a new bird for some of the newer viewers. If you are making bird lists, a good one to add on. We can count that. Nice to know that there's a couple up and around here. I used to see them a few more times down in the southern Sabi sand, because they would typically hang around the lodge and around the drainage lines. They liked it about there. We don't get to see them up here. Those just got to do with habitats. Down in the Eastern Cape, though, they're everywhere. They're really cool. And they're very good at mimicking other bird calls, but they've also got an exceptionally good vocabulary of their own as well. They make all sorts of different calls. Let's see if we can find any more. It's hard, to get a bird party to sit still for long enough to show you all of them. Because, like I said, the magpie shrike, there was the southern bobo was a part of it. There was yellow-billed and red-billed hornbills. The black-headed oriole, like I said. And a couple of others, and maybe a few starlings too. There were so many of them. So I've actually just come down onto Albury's Road to have a look to see if I can find any signs of Shidulu, that young leopardess. But sadly nothing. We had some of her old tracks from yesterday, the ones we were following on bushwalk. I don't know where she's gone. I'm sure she's around here somewhere. She's just decided that she's going to give us all the slip, and she wants a bit of peace and quiet for a change. Come on, birds, help us out here. Throw us a bone. I'm not looking desperately for anything bouncing from branch to branch. I heard beagles. And obviously we're not talking about dog breeds here. Eagles. There we go. So, did you hear the name though, Seb? You also forgot. Dale. There we go, Dale. Dale, you're wondering, do eagles, not beagles, dust bath like some of the smaller ground-dwelling birds do? Yeah, I've actually seen Wahlberg's eagles doing it, funny enough. You don't see them doing it as often, but I've definitely seen them doing it. I've even seen vultures dust bathing before, which was quite cool. Although sometimes when a vulture just takes off, they create a dust bath, so even if they didn't want one, the others normally get showered in it. But they do spend quite a bit of time preening themselves, as we have seen, as they perch up and just sort of resting. So they will. They will indeed, because they, of course, also have parasites. Something is squeaking in this car, and I don't like the sound of it. It's not anything bad. It's the door. Definitely the door. I'm going to have to get some tape on it in a minute to stop it from squeaking. Oh, it's not closed. Ah, no. We'll just go with it. Luckily, no one can fall out that side of the car. Natural Light, you've said that that Southern Bobo was 174 on your list. Congratulations, well done. That's fantastic. I'm sorry that it wasn't a decent view. And we'll go back to some of my favorite spots over the next few days. Like I said, in Yala Road South. I didn't see one this morning. I did have a little look around for one, but I didn't win. Now, I don't know where to go because the zebra tracks went into Arethusa. The elephant tracks that I also had also went into Arethusa. And then, what are these tracks? Hyena tracks. Lots and lots of hyena tracks all over the road, as they normally are, out looking for things to eat. But no hyenas to go with those tracks. Pity we don't have one whooping again that we could race off and try and find like we did the other morning. We got lucky there. See, I'm sure there's leopards in here somewhere. It's just such an incredibly thick block that I reckon you could walk straight past her and not even know that she was there. So it is a tough one. I mean, there's no ways I'm going to be able to put a vehicle through there without breaking it. So we shall give that a skip. Definitely give it a skip. Okay, well, we'll keep searching around here. We are looking for birds, but it is a chilly day, so I think a lot of them are maybe just resting up at the moment. I don't think there's going to be many insects around on a day like today, besides the ones that Tristan has found. He's done a sterling job. But if we go back to, well, the man who cannot be struck by lightning, I think we're going to call Brent Zeus from now on.
Oh, McCurdy. So, there we go. We're still working in tandem, and here comes Bushwalk. Hosanna's tracks crossed through the river onto Leadwood Road. So we've just popped around, took a little shortcut. Hi! Where's tracks now?
South. The last one was at that Ulster there.
Okay. I was thinking Ghana's just over here.
Yeah, but he definitely is a
No, I know. I saw them on Battalier. No, maybe he's sitting at Twin Dams, waiting, because no one's been there this morning. Yeah. Let me turn this way. Yes, there we go.
Otherwise, Dave's going to be upset with us.
Yes, there we go, Dave. Dave's being cheeky. I tried to hit him with my water bottle earlier, but he moved.
Why is he being cheeky?
He's just full of nonsense.
Dave, what are you up to this morning?
No, it's not me.
It's because he's feeling objectified this morning. And he's dangerous, Dave, the objectified dish. Anyway, are you guys? Are you gonna check? I didn't see any tracks when he crossed with Dimples. Thank you, Nikki. I didn't see if he crossed the drainage there. So I think I'll just go down and then go round to Twin Dams.
Okay, cool.
Have a look there and let you guys cut through.
We'll just follow straight through.
And you guys want to lift home, man?
It would be nice.
Work off that holiday. Let's go jump on the scales.
Okay.
Okay, bye. I heard them up. Okay. So, we're going to keep moving. Oh, let's show you quickly. Ravinda is wondering how much weight is Craig carrying on his back. Not that much. They do complain a lot, the cameraman. Turn around, Craig. We're not wanting to see. There we go. There's Herbie. Here we go. I think it's about 7 kilos, Dave. Bit less than 7 kilos. But this is Bushwalk Backpack Model 4.0. I remember the first Bushwalk Backpack was about 14 kilos. And then that was the one that Scott actually used for quite a bit when he was with Steph during Big Cat Week, I think 2015. We used that for a little bit. Then we trimmed it down to about, the last model was about 12, and then about 9, and then now this is the latest model, which is all the way down to less than 7 kilos. So not too bad. Actually, I think that the thing, if you ask the cameraman, and I've actually had to use it before as well, the most difficult thing is the aerial. Having to duck and try and move through the bush with that long aerial. So Hassan is here somewhere. We're going to go across to Taylor to see what she's doing and how her search for Shadula is going.
Well, you were here only a few seconds ago, so not much has changed. We're still looking for birds. Shadulu, I don't know where she is. I just had her old tracks from yesterday and nothing new. Still going in between the block between Aubrey's Road and Sandy Patch North. So I'm not really sure. She's probably in there, like I said. So no new updates from me, sadly, and no birds that are wanting to stick around to be seen. So we're just driving. There's not even an impala to look at the moment. I don't blame any of the animals for hiding away, however, as it's windy now and it's quite cold. So they're probably all going down into the drainage lines and hanging about where the trees are a little bit thicker. Some of these questions are very difficult to answer this morning, and it's from Joy, and it's, does the Jacobson organ enhance the flavors of food? Again, I feel like you need to be talking from experience to answer that one. And, well, we as humans lose the Jacobson organ as a fetus. So I can't really comment on it, and I can't say that I've ever read anything where they've said that, you know, they can pick up the taste of chicken a little bit better with the Jacobson organ. I don't know. I can't answer that question, unfortunately. It's a really difficult one to answer. I would assume it does enhance some sense in a way, of course. I mean, they're able to pick up increased estrogen levels in urine, especially if it's the males. So it must, but whether it's particular flavors, I'm not sure, unfortunately. I'm also not sure. That made me giggle. Thank you, Joy. I love those questions that are really, really awkward and hard to answer. Off we go. Now I'm coming onto the open plains of quarantine and hope that there is a wildebeest waiting up here for us, or perhaps one impala. Well, who knows? Maybe the McCurdy herdie will be reared up and waving their hooves about. McCurdy herdie is a group of zebra. But I'm not feeling too lucky this morning. We will have to give it a bash, though. We'll go around a couple of times. Maybe we can find a marula to eat if the elephants have stolen them all already. Yesterday was quite funny watching that big elephant bull shake that tree and get the last of them. He was a clever fella, that one. Now, Daryl, thank you for your question. You're wondering if we use the bird calls to actually find certain birds. Well, yeah, so there's a number of different things we can chat about here, and hope I can hear some, I don't know, some ground-dwelling bird calling. We do indeed. Obviously, you're training as a guide, you need to learn to identify the bird call. So not only by identifying them by sight, but also by sound. And the other thing is that I try not to use bird calls to call them in. I have, though, of course I have. But I've also seen the way that some birds react, and it can really upset them. I've definitely used certain calls like the gorgeous bushshrike call to try and lure them in before, because I hadn't seen one, and I could see them bouncing on top of the branches. Where is this spurfowl that is making a noise now? No, it's probably in the drainage line. I can't even see it. Who was that? Or are you a crested francolin? We're not going to see it. It's in the drainage line. You can just hear them squawking. Squawk, squawk, squawk. Making lots of noise. Not shouting, though, unfortunately, that there's a leopard nearby. What a pity, Because that would have been great, don't you think? Okay, I'm going to keep scrounging around here. And hopefully we will find some birds that want to partake in this morning's safari. Maybe we'll have to go to Vuyatel Dam and look at the blacksmith lapwings. But let's go across to Tristan and see if he's managed to run away from Brent.
Well, we just managed to run away from Brent. It was tough because he was hunting us down in Rusty, but we got away eventually. The nice thing about a vehicle and feet is that you go into the bush and then the vehicle doesn't really follow you that much. But we are away from Brent, and unfortunately still no any further signs of Hasana. The last tracks we had were pretty much where we saw Brent just now, and they've cut off the road. We're not sure whether they've gone towards Twin Dam side or if they cut off further towards the sort of southeast. I have a strong suspicion that Hasana is already inside Little Gari or Chitwa. I don't think he's with us here on Djuma at the moment. Maybe Chitwa, but I don't think he's here. These tracks, when we're looking at them, are not from right now this morning. It's not like we're right behind him, although you never know. Maybe he's kind of detoured. There was some tracks for elephants on the road where he kind of left the road, and so I wonder if maybe he didn't see some ellies and then shift around them or something like that. We did hear elephants quite far away, so maybe those ellies, he bumped into them early hours of this morning and just decided to take a different route and head off. But difficult to say. I mean, there's no real tracks that indicate which way he went, and like I say, with ellie tracks and buffalo tracks and those kind of things on the road, often it squashes leopard track quite quickly, and it becomes really tough to be able to then find those tracks and find where that animal is. So we'll see. I mean, we're just stabbing in the dark now, going down towards the Mulawati, just trying to see if we can pick up a sign of him moving in these areas. So next, can you repeat that for me again? Sorry, I missed the first little bit. Okay, so Lucas, you're asking if hooves could cause obstruction and injury towards internal organs of a cat that eats them. So earlier we saw Hasana's dung was littered with the hooves of the little duiker inside there. I suppose possibly. The hoof is quite sharp, but it needs a bit of force to be able to exert any sort of damage to you. If you just touch a hoof, it's not really that sharp enough to kind of cause too much damage. But if there's force applied and it kicks you, then yes, it can maybe cause a bit of damage. So I don't think it causes too much of an issue with them. These animals are animals that have lived like this and evolved to be able to eat these things and bone shards and all of that kind of stuff and not really get any sort of punctures and that. And you probably find that when they're eating these things, little bits of meat and fur wrapped around these bits of bone help to just protect the stomach area and make sure that it doesn't get pierced. But you never know. Maybe it's happened before. I wouldn't be surprised if a bone shard in some random way has gotten an animal. There's some crazy things that happen to wild animals out here. Good. Now, I believe I'm going to send you across to Brent, who either has a baboon or has just been called a baboon by FC.
No. And we have found a whole troop of baboons in the Mulawati River. And look at that little baby. He's sort of playing with all the sticks. Oh, falling around, jumping on mom. Tiny little one. Very enjoying his morning in the sand pit. Under adult supervision. They are fascinating creatures, baboons. It's a little boy. There was an argument happening downstream out of sight. You see him running around and screaming. Now that's an internal argument. It's not a oh my goodness, there's a leopard or a lion argument. Because this mom would have shot up a tree. Oh, look at it. There's another adult female there. I'm just coming to have a look at the little baby. She doesn't seem to have one of her own at the moment. Now, of course, if Hassan is anywhere around here, this lot will make the biggest din possible. Oh, look at him. really is loving the sand pit this morning. Oh, Carol says they are as much fun to watch as the elephants. I'm just going to move out of the way. I'm causing a traffic jam here. Oh, Bison! Sorry, I just saw the guide who's driving that is an old friend of mine. I used to work with at Singita many years ago. Yeah, Bison! Nice to see you. Long time, Diffie. Ah, how you been behaving? Hi guys, sorry, Diff and I had worked together many years ago. Nice to see you. So you're still responding, you can't find your own animals? Guys, I know how it goes. Oh, cool. Nice to see you, Diff. Yeah. Cheers, I'm sure we'll catch up soon. Okay. Yeah, back for a little bit and then I'm going again in a short while. Okay. Cheers, Diffie. Right. There we go. That's quite exciting. I haven't seen Diff in a couple of years. Unfortunately, the baboons have moved off in the meantime. Oh, yes, I just wanted to answer something. I had a lot of questions about where is Jamie? When is Jamie coming back? Jamie, unfortunately, is not coming back to the Sabi Sands this trip. She's still on leave. And then she is going to be going up to join Scott in Kenya in a short while. So she's going to be working on some of those conservation issue videos and stuff like that that James has been working on. She's going to take over there. So, well, I keep looking for Asano. So he's definitely not around there because of the baboons, but he's going to. He's hopefully still inside Djuma, probably just lying at Twin Dams. In the meantime, Taylor's found a canoe.
Well, I don't know who chased those baboons away. Brent, I actually thought I could hear some distress calls, but then it sounded like your voice all the way here at Vuyatela Dam. Perhaps people could have even heard it on the dam cam. And I'm pretty sure the other day you said to me that I was the loudest person. But anyways, we'll just tell you very quickly what a couple of people call Brent in camp. He's got his basically, if you break his name up, there's an acronym, and it's BLS. You can only guess what that stands for. I'm going to tell you right now. Big, loud sound. I don't have that kind of nickname at all. Not even one. Not even remotely close. So I think Brent actually wins the award for being the loudest. But here we go. We have the only 3 wildebeest on Djuma. We've got Mom and a youngster who's very fluffy this morning, a bit on the chilly side. And then a very protective male who does not want to let them out of his side. And I don't blame him. I feel like the rest of his herd is long moved on. So he's trying to keep this girl and her little one around for as long as possible. Where are you guys going now, though? I was surprised to not see them up on quarantine. Even though it is a fairly open plain, there are lots and lots of shrubs, big marula trees, lots of large-fruited bush willows and dwarfed silver cluster leaf. So they typically do provide quite a nice amount of shelter. You don't actually need to escape to the drainage lines like in other areas. And all those buildings in the back, we're just looking at basically Vuyatela Lodge. I think these wildebeest are heading to the sneaky slipway between, basically, you can see the big antennas on either side. There's a road that runs down the middle. And I'm wondering if the wildebeest aren't heading on down that way. And there we go. But we're right at the lodge. So I think from here we're actually going to go across onto the dam wall. There's one of the fences. Sometimes you feel lucky you see a nyala and bushbuck jumping over those fences with absolute ease too, because they like to go into the lodge and eat all the nice succulent plants and the watered grass. There's the lodge. Having a quick little tour in case you've never seen it. This is Vuyatela. Beautiful. So there's the deck. Nice. There's a swimming pool. All fantastic. No one's home though. And then the dam cam at one point was also there. That's what you're looking at. There's the old base plate for it, but it has since been moved. Very cool. Okay, let's go across to the dam wall because wildebeest are moving away from us now. There's no logs here. It'll be awkward. Reversing straight into a big tree. Would you say this, but it does actually happen. Okay. Off we go. I did see the blacksmith lapwings down there, but I don't know what else is lurking about in the water. Maybe we'll see a crested barbet. They like to sit in these dead trees. But... oh. Doves. Turtle doves. That's exciting. Bobbing their heads around. Perhaps there's a bit of courtship, and there they go. This is what I've been dealing with all morning. Hey, the birds have got a funny sense of humor today. There they are. There's one. And I think the male was trying to court the female there. He was bobbing his head up and down and singing a beautiful tune. But it seems as though when he made his next move, the lady was not interested, and she went, bye-bye, cheerio, I've got a plane to catch. And off she went, and now he's left by himself. Very sad story. Sure. Totally about youthful laughter. Words. Okay, Mrs. Grumpy, thank you very much. You said that my name stands for Taylor, obviously. Totally about youthful laughter always. I like that. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you. I think there's probably a whole lot of people going, no. Oh, kingfisher. Yes. Please don't fly away from us. Please don't fly away from us. Hello. That is a woodland kingfisher, everybody. So I'm sure you all know. And so stunning with its brilliant blue feathers. Oh, do you know what I didn't do, Sebastian? And I'm kicking myself. I'm not. I'm banging my head on the steering wheel. I didn't go and pick up the feathers from the Wahlberg eagle. Oh, I can't believe I forgot to do that. I might have to zip on past there because I really want to get some feathers. It would be nice. Woodland kingfisher, if you could please pluck a feather out for me for my collection. We won't give it to Brain to use for his flies, though. What have you seen? What have you seen? An insect. Let me go forward. It did. It caught something, actually. It gobbled it up really quickly. It landed on this thorn tree, though, so we can't see it. We should get a view. Oh, we can. It's still got it in its mouth. What you got? Aw, man, you didn't even wait for us to have a quick look. It was a little insect. I suspect a grasshopper, just because there's so many of them at the moment. They're leaping from all over. Lots of little nymphs. The young grasshoppers. That was a nice little treat. I'm sure it's the equivalent of having a bacon and egg roll. Right, but before Brent's little critter moves away, off you go to see a squirrel.
Oh, look at him sitting there. He was chirping much better, not alarm calling, but sort of chatting in squirrel chat, discussing whatever squirrels chat about, but now he seemed to have gone quiet. I'm hoping he starts talking again. So, of course, they do alarm call for the bigger predators, but a lot of the chatter we hear from squirrels is just communication between the different individual squirrels. Hey, squirrel. Done talking now. So back on the baboons we saw a little bit earlier. Of course, we see chacma baboons here in the Sabi Sands, and in Kenya we see olive baboons. And Joy was wondering what is the difference. There are different species. Generally, the olive baboons look a lot bigger, even though they're not. Physically, they're slightly larger than the chacma baboon, but they are fluffier because they live at higher altitudes, and so they live at colder climes, so they need to have more sort of thick fur to keep them warm. The chacmas and olives, in terms of their diet and habits, are quite similar. Their call is quite different. It's a big, a chacma baboon alarm call is bah, bah. I love an olive baboon alarm call. Moo, moo. He really sounds scared when he sees a lion, whereas the chacma sounds quite aggressive. Bah. and boo. So it's quite funny. There is a third species of baboon that occurs in the eastern parts of Africa, from the Zambezi River up through the Miombo woodlands and actually down towards coastal Kenya. The baboons you find there are yellow baboons. And out of the three, they're the most arboreal, so they spend more time in the trees and live in more forested areas, and that's because of the habitat they live in. But yeah, so that's the main differences between the baboons. We are not the balloons, the baboons. So we're going to keep moving. No sign of a sign popping out of there, so he might have just gone to sleep. There's some very steep ravines in that area, so might have to go have a look this afternoon again. Check the Mawati in case he doubled back on us, which he does quite often, and bush checking over there. But track just... Oh, hang on. We've got some tracks here, but these are the tracks of him coming. So we're going to keep moving up the Mawati a bit more fresh while we do that to see how Tristan's doing on foot.
Is what apparently Brent was saying, but it's very much similar to his baboon friend, so maybe he's just trying to mimic a baboon. No, I'm joking. The gremlins seem to be getting Brent, and that's causing a bit of an issue, and so hopefully he'll get out of the Mulawati and everything will be good. But we've been walking along without much success. We haven't had any signs of Hosana. I'm pretty sure he's crossed south into Chitwa or Little Gowrie. We'll have to just pick it up this afternoon and carry on with that. But we're so close to the boundary. Last track we had was not even 100 meters north of the boundary. And like I said, they weren't fresh right now tracks. So pretty sure he's gone south. But while we were walking along, we had a big pile of elephant dung that was on the road. And you could see where guinea fowl had gone through it, and the guinea fowls had gone through it, and one guinea fowl in particular had obviously sat there and decided this was the perfect place to preen itself, and it had pulled out some of the feathers. So I picked up one of the feathers to show you guys just how beautiful a guinea fowl's little feather pattern is. So we always just see the little white spots, but actually you can see they've got a honeycomb kind of effect to it. So there's little hexagonal markings that isolate each little white spot and allow you to get that kind of vivid coloration. So there's actually really a lot of detail within these feathers as they go along. There's a bit of elephant poo in there as well, so I'm going to have to wash my hands a little bit later. We'll let that feather go and it's floating down to the ground, and hopefully we'll get nice clean hands when we get back to camp just now. But it's amazing the detail that goes into birds' feathers. You know, we often think about birds' feathers and we see them and we see the bright colors, and you kind of forget just how incredible the colorations are and the markings that a lot of them have got and how intricate they are. So it's very good to sometimes just stop and pick a feather up and have a little look. Of course, you've got to be a bit careful with some feathers because some feathers have lice, and if you have vultures, you'll have a situation where they could even be carrying anthrax. So be a bit careful with picking up some feathers, but for the most part they should be alright. And again, guinea fowl is pretty innocuous. Now, I believe a few questions have come through regarding hand sanitizer and whether we carry it around. Yes, we carry it around in the form of Craig. You just wipe your hands on him when you're done, and then everything is fine. No, I'm joking. It's we don't have it here with us on walk, but back at camp we've got in the bathrooms there. So when you get back from camp, just wash your hands quickly and carry on with the morning. But there are some that don't do that at all, and just, you know, I suppose they are built of cast iron, which is probably Brent Leo Smith more than anybody else. I don't think any germ wants to try and infect Brent Leo Smith. I think he's probably chased all of them away. He's following us today. Look at that. He's behind us again. I don't know. Oh goodness. I feel like Craig might be in danger here. Now he's trying to drive into me. Now, that's typical Brent, is that I was expecting to get Rusty rammed into my thigh, which luckily he didn't. He actually stopped. He was quite good today. He didn't give us too much of a trouble. But we are following obviously the same kind of paths because we've been kind of intersecting, tracking Hosana down. So that's why we've had Brent around us most of the morning. Now, Nikki, I know you asked me a question, but I forgot the name. I do apologize. This is obviously me getting old, and I've still got leave brain at the moment, which is basically when your brain turns into a big pile of custard and you can't actually hear anything or see anything. So, Joe Smith, you say you would have a feather collection if you lived here. Well, it's a thing that you kind of start getting into, and then you forget about it. And often, actually, funny enough, is you find feathers that are not in great condition. So you'll find a lot of feathers that are kind of broken or in some way damaged, and so that sort of stops things a little bit. But I suppose, yeah, it would be a good thing to have. In the tent, we've got quite a few feathers, and then they always go missing. I don't know what happens to them. I feel like people put them on their hats and stuff, and then walk around, and they go, because we had a lappet-faced vulture in there. We had ground hornbill feathers, we had lilac-breasted roller feathers, and they just slowly but surely seem to be disappearing. So I don't know where they're all going. Maybe they also get eaten. They do get eaten by moths and all those kind of things. So we'd have to probably get them into nice binders or little sort of folders, and maybe put some mothballs or something to stop that from happening. But it's one of those things, and it does happen, and does kind of, we should, I suppose, be able to collect more feathers than we actually do. It's a nice thing to do. I know Brent sometimes is picking up feathers to use for his flies and fly tying, as he showed you yesterday, and kudu tail work quite well, and I suppose you could use many other different things as well. I just want to check this mud wallow here quickly to see if there's any sign of anything interesting. I often find crazy little things here in these mud wallows. So Dale, you're asking about scorpions, considering we saw a scorpion earlier, and you're wondering if some of them, well, are they deadly, or is it just painful? It depends on the scorpion altogether. So the scorpion that we saw earlier is not even going to be that bad. In fact, it is less than a bee sting when it hits you, and that's because that scorpion relies heavily on its pincers to grab food, and then to hold it down and basically pull it apart with big strong pincers. Whereas some of the other scorpions that we get, like Parabuthus transvalicus, which is a very, very dangerous scorpion that we've got in this area, that can potentially kill you. I know somebody that has been hit, well, a few people that have been hit by them, and if they were a guy like myself or Craig, and quite tall and big, then you would find a situation where you'd probably be okay as long as you can get to a hospital. But smaller individuals or ladies, they might have a bit of an issue, and I know it's excruciatingly painful when one of those hits you, and it can lead to death as well. So pretty interesting. But so far, nothing really around our mud wallow. I was hoping that we would find some interesting things, but not really. There's even very few bird tracks, no signs of little froggies bouncing around anywhere, so we'll try and see if we can find anything else. But while we kind of keep checking, there's another mud wallow close by that I want to have a look at. Let's send you back over to Brent, who's just down the road, and find out what his plan is for the rest of the morning.
Yeah, so Tristan is walking down the road on my route home. So inconvenient of him, but it's good to have him back. And we're going to keep meandering back towards home. And it's been a bit of a frustrating morning with the leopards disappearing from us. Oh, I tell you what, this is one tree I definitely did miss while I was in East Africa. And it's just that it's such a wonderful colour, the russet bush willow. And you can see where it gets its name from, the seed pods, that sort of rusty orange that they are. You can make a sort of tea or coffee substitute out of it, but the more interesting thing comes into its scientific name. It's Combretum, but it's Combretum hereroensis, which is named after the Herero people in Namibia and Botswana. And in times of drought, and even just during the normal dry season, they will collect those seed pods and use them as fodder for their cattle. So prevalently so that the tree became named after them. Okay, let's continue. Now, it's amazing. I was actually chatting to Dave about it a bit earlier, that after that herd of buffalo passed through here yesterday, the amount of flies that are around us today are exponentially more than yesterday. I mean, uncomfortably so sometimes, especially when you're walking and just attacking you. And a lot of them were those little biting flies, those stable flies. Now, speaking of those buffalo, one herd of buffalo, as I said, got chased by the Avoca males, but the Nkuhumas had success and actually caught an adult buffalo bull inside Buffels Hook. So from those tracks we found this morning crossing into Buffels Hook, sometime this morning during drive they managed to catch an adult buffalo bull. So they're going to be happy as Larry, so to speak. But in the meantime, let's go to the loudest person at Safari Live to say goodbye for all of us.
Brent, I think you're mistaken that they're ending the show with me, not with you. Look what we found, a feather. Whether these feathers actually belong to the Wahlberg's eagle, I have absolutely no idea. My hands are covered in mud and dirt and all sorts of things, now I'm digging them up from the ground. But it's basically within the area where those Wahlbergs were. But we'll have to try and investigate a little bit later on today. There it is, the Wahlberg still sitting up in the tree. Still way up top. Actually, are we going to see it? I think so. We hope so. Get off me, little fly. There it is, hiding away. I definitely reckon that this feather is from there. You can see a white and it had mottled brown on it too. So we got some. I think we won there, but not a very good looking feather. Might have to give it a bit of a clean because it seems to be quite dirty. And I'll definitely be washing my hands, but the Wahlberg's eagle should be around for the sunset safari this afternoon. So let's hope we can get another view of them at Treehouse Dam, and hopefully some of the leopards will come about. But thank you for joining us, and we'll see you all a little bit later.